In Jerusalem, many legends converge at the same point, the Golden Gate and the mystery of it being closed. It wasn't time that silenced it, but a decision made 5 centuries ago, fueled by fear and faith. The idea spread that it would remain locked until the Messiah's return. Now, however, something has moved beyond rumor. In the ancient walls, the gate has been partially opened. If the prophecy holds weight, the matter is no longer just archaeology. It brushes up against the sacred. Before we go on, click subscribe and turn on the notification bell. This way YouTube knows this content matters and will share it with more people. Called the Golden Gate, also known as the Eastern Gate or Gate of Mercy. It sits on the eastern face of Jerusalem's Old City. Facing the Mount of Olives, it watches over the Kidron Valley. It sees no traffic and no tourists. Sealed with bricks, it has remained untouched for more than 480 years. Still, it's no ordinary passage. For Jews and Christians, this is where the Messiah will pass through. For Christians, Jesus is said to have entered through it before the crucifixion, echoing Zechariah, the humble king riding a donkey. For Jews, it is the passage of the Redeemer who will restore Israel. In 1541, Suleiman the Magnificent ordered the passage sealed, stone by stone. It wasn't a ceremonial gesture, it was calculated. Many believe he was trying to block with mortar and command the ancient words. Some say his aim was to crush any Jewish hope of liberation. To prevent a priest or a messianic figure from daring to pass through, a Muslim cemetery was built in front of the Eastern Gate, relying on the belief that a holy man would not walk among the dead. Even so, if the prophecy was meant to be stopped, why does history keep slipping through? For the first time in generations, the inner chambers of that gate, silent for centuries, are said to have been opened to the faithful. Whether the result of a human decision or something we can't yet name, this breach seems to stir something ancient. Before we continue, if this topic intrigues you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you can follow the next chapters. The gate wasn't closed just for defense, it was sealed with purpose. Ezekiel 44, 2 echoes through the centuries. This gate is to remain shut because the Lord, the God of Israel, has entered through it. This shifts the heart of the narrative, not the whim of a king but a divine decree. Many scholars see here a reference to Jesus' entry into Jerusalem on Palm Sunday, coming from the Mount of Olives and passing through the Eastern Gate, fulfilling Zechariah 9:9. After that, everything seemed to change. If the Lord's presence had passed through it, it was not to be reopened until his return. Yet centuries later, Suleiman ordered it sealed and the cemetery built, an act of ignorance, defiance, or strategy. He believed that by sealing the gate, he could stop the course of something foretold. Yet the act of closing it may have been the first step toward fulfilling what was written. History circles back to the same point, human hands trying to undo what many see as divine decree. In 1917, when Muslim leaders prepared to demolish the Golden Gate, the march was abruptly halted. British troops took Jerusalem and changed the course of events. Half a century later, in 1967, during the heat of the Six-Day War, Israeli authorities considered reopening the passage, until a respected rabbi warned only the Messiah could open that gate. Since then, the city has been stirring and the gate remains. With every attempt, something resists, as if invisible hands were keeping the stones silent. Now, with the news that the inner corridor may have been accessed for the first time in centuries, the question comes back heavier. Was it just a human decision, or a permission from above for a door to crack open as a sign? Before we go on, hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way YouTube knows this content matters and shows it to more people. Jerusalem has many gates. Several have been torn down, others rebuilt, some given new names and new memories. The Golden Gate, however, doesn't follow the pattern. It's become a marker of a dispute not between peoples but with time itself. Any intervention around it triggers unexpected echoes, as if discrete forces are guarding what's been sealed for ages. If one day the lock gives way, what else besides stone will be ready to move? Through peace treaties and promises, the Eastern Gate stayed exactly where it's always been. Bulldozers opened roads, neighborhoods sprang up, but not a single stone from that arch has been removed. The world spins, governments change, maps are redrawn, and it stays put. That's why what's happening now is intriguing. In 2019, quiet reports began to surface. The inner chamber, hidden for centuries behind bricks, might have been accessed, not for kings or generals, but for worshippers. Photos circulated, videos leaked. In some, people prayed in the vestibule once sealed. In others, there were signs of silent work going on behind the walls. Authorities never explained. The silence fed old interpretations. For those who follow prophecy, this wasn't politics or chance. It was a sign. Scripture says the gate was shut because the Lord passed through it. If something is opening now, even from the inside, the question generations have kept suddenly feels urgent. Could the return be near? A gate doesn't move on its own. If there's movement, something's drawing closer. Jerusalem understands this language. Its stones speak through scars, inscriptions, and dust. The Golden Gate speaks differently, through its stillness, its stubborn permanence, the hands that tried to remove it and failed. There were times when leaders thought they could control history, seal entrances, build walls, draw borders, as if that could hold back prophecy. It's in this clash between human plans and a landmark that refuses to yield that today's story finds its tension. Over the centuries, the Golden Gate has defied invasions, decrees, and renovations. The Ottomans sealed it with bricks. Crusaders forced it open for a time, only to see it closed again. Muslim rulers thought about tearing it down. Israeli authorities debated reopening it. In every attempt, something stalled, as if history itself was holding its breath, and the gate stayed. Then comes 2019. Behind the stones, the inside is accessed for the first time in a long while. The outer face remains closed, steady like a prolonged pause. But inside, the stillness is broken. No soldiers walk in, prayers do. What does it mean when the heart opens but the face stays silent? Maybe it's a sign that hasn't yet stepped onto the streets but has already awakened within. If the gate is a clock, the hands have moved one tick forward. Prophecy doesn't usually shout, it speaks softly. And the whisper came from the hidden side of a wall long considered untouchable. Before we go on, go ahead and click subscribe and hit the bell icon. This way, YouTube knows this content matters and shares it with more people. In front of it rises the Mount of Olives, a peaceful slope marked by olive trees and ancient graves. It's more than a hill, it's a stage. Zechariah 14 says that when the Lord returns, his feet will touch this mountain and it will split in two. This isn't a figure of speech, it's a precise location. Mountain and gate face each other, aligned like an axis. In his first coming, Jesus came down that slope, crossed the Kidron, and entered through this very passage, not through the southern or western gates, but through the one that tradition says will remain shut until his return. It wasn't a parade, it was a warning. Since rumors began to heat up again behind the walls and the eyes of the world turned to the east side of Jerusalem, one detail gained weight: the direction of that gate. It doesn't face Rome, Mecca, or Washington. It faces the place where, according to the promise, the feet of the Anointed One will stand. If prophecy counts, geography stops being just scenery and becomes a clock. Those stones aren't ruins, they're a mechanism, shut for a reason, maybe preparing to open for a purpose. What's coming next won't be decided in parliaments. It follows a greater calendar. And there's only one worthy to cross that threshold. 2 traditions, 2 timelines, 1 gate. For the Jews, the Golden Gate is the entrance of the Messiah, who will restore the kingdom, establish peace, and bring justice to the nations. For Christians, it's the same entryway Jesus once passed through and will pass through again. Not in humility, but in glory. The point of contact is rare and direct. Both connect the gate to a divine return. In the Hebrew tradition, it's Sha'ar HaRachamim, the gate of mercy. Not wrath, not conquest, mercy. That name shifts the conversation from politics to redemption. The ways of believing differ, but the hand of the clock lines up. It's expected that near the end, this gate will open, and once open, everything will realign. The news that the inner passage, once sealed, has been accessed spread through both communities. For some, it's just renovation. For others, it's a sign. If you believe the gate will open when the Messiah comes, seeing it start to give way feels like closeness. And when Jews and Christians fix their eyes on the same stone arch, waiting for the same event, it's hard to call it coincidence. It's convergence. Call him Messiah ben David or King of Kings. The meeting point is the same. This gate will open when he comes. Over the centuries, men have tried to box in what God declared. They drew boundaries, rewrote laws driven by fear, and built barriers along the path where prophecy says a king will pass. Every time they touched the Golden Gate, something stopped them. Before we go on, hit subscribe and turn on the bell. That way, YouTube knows this content matters and shows it to more people. In the early 20th century, under Ottoman rule, Muslim authorities planned to tear down the gate. Orders were given. The date was set. On that very day, Jerusalem fell into British hands. The plan vanished in the smoke of an unexpected shift in power. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israeli troops pushed into the Old City. They had the means, the mandate, and the chance to break through the entrance. They didn't. A respected religious leader advised, "Only the Messiah can open that gate." They stepped back. For centuries, men have tried to raise barriers against the sacred. They even built a cemetery in front of the gate, thinking it would block the passage of a priestly figure. But if the promise is real, nothing will stop the king. The world assumes it can pause prophecy, delay it, reroute it. But what God has sealed can't be shut, and what He set in motion can't be stopped. And it seems that motion has started again. Prophecy rarely arrives with a bang. Often it moves in silence, in shadows, in the slight shifting of stones buried under centuries of dust. That's why the recent change at the Golden Gate draws so much attention. There was no fanfare, no headlines, no press conference, just a quiet opening. From the outside, the gate is still sealed, just as it has been since 1541. But inside, the inner chamber, long closed to the public, has become accessible. No bulldozers, no explosions, just a door unlocked from within. Coincidence, maintenance, oversight, or something beyond what the eyes can see? Jesus never promised to return with clear timelines or press alerts. When He comes, no wall, tomb, or empire will stand in His way. Maybe the clock so many have tried to stop has started ticking again. If so, what other gears might be turning right now, in silence, while most people are looking the other way? He promised to return in days like Noah's. People busy, life going on as usual, until the first drops fell. The call wasn't for curiosity, but for vigilance. Not for calculations, but for staying awake. When He comes, it won't be subtle. Everyone will see. He will come in the clouds. Nations will tremble. Before the King, there are signs. Some arrive in silence, an ancient gate that remains sealed and suddenly seems to pulse. Not broken, but alive. Not fallen, but breathing. Those who keep watch on prophecy don't need headlines to see the patterns. What we see might not be the final fulfillment, but the whisper before the trumpet. Some treat the Golden Gate as just a museum piece. Others see it as a countdown, a clock without numbers, marking not hours but fulfillments. It doesn't tick, it waits. And waiting isn't inertia, it's preparation. Attempts to profane it, thwarted. Stones held in place. And now, something moves. In prophecy, coincidence doesn't explain everything. The partial opening of inner chambers may seem like a detail, but details carry a path. Small was the breath given to Ezekiel. Small, a little donkey passing by 2,000 years ago. God rarely starts with a bang, He starts with alignment. And today, pieces are lining up. The Mount of Olives remains on watch. The Temple Mount remains contested. The call is this: keep your eyes open, your heart sober, and your hands ready. Time runs differently, and the next step may be closer than we think. Before we go on, click subscribe and turn on the bell. That way, YouTube knows this content matters and shares it with more people. Every year, the rumors about a third temple grow stronger. And suddenly, talk comes back that the gate of prophecy is breathing again. For those who believe, this isn't a threat, it's a calling. Jesus didn't leave dates, He left signs. He said, "When you see these things begin to happen, lift your head, because your redemption is drawing near." That gate has never been just stone and lime. It's a clock, and it points to someone whose arrival changes everything. If He will pass through it, every stone matters. Every rumor carries weight. Every movement shifts the hand. If the countdown has started, we're not the audience. We're on stage. For almost half a millennium, the Golden Gate has remained sealed, not by erosion, but by an ancient word. And now they say it's no longer still. Whether it's a crack or a sign, one truth echoes: the gate is moving. Around the world, the signs are piling up: wars and rumors of wars, the earth groaning in disasters, The spiritual borders between truth and deception blur. At the center, Jerusalem, not chosen by politics but by divine election. In it, a gate. And on the gate, a message. He entered once, he will enter again. Not humble as before, but as king. When he comes, no empire will stop him, no army will face him, no wall will matter. This isn't coincidence, it's alignment. It is written, it was whispered, now it is seen. The Golden Gate remains closed but awake. The question isn't if it will open, it's this: when it happens, will you be ready? That's it for today. In the next chapter, we'll connect new pieces, look at other signs, and keep tying together this story that's unfolding before our eyes. In the meantime, tell me in the comments what caught your attention the most. Share this video with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss what's next. See you soon. Eyes open, heart steady, and head held high. See you then. God bless you.